Hi students. All right, so as promised, I am making a video of action potentials for you. So I'm gonna go through just all the different components and all of the different steps and pretty much everything that you're gonna need to know for this test. Now, you may go a little bit deeper into this topic in your Bio 213 lecture. However, whatever I'm giving you here and then what is on your worksheet at the end of chapter 12 is all that you need to know for your practical, all right? Okay, so I've already drawn out kind of what our action potential is gonna look like, okay? But I'm gonna go through just some of these individual parts for you on this graph, okay? So here on the x-axis, I have time, and then here on the y-axis, that's gonna be your transmembrane potential, okay? And so that's gonna be measured in millivolts, okay? So just keep that in mind that we are gonna be thinking about, charges, okay? So that's what's going to really be affecting this potential right here, okay? So I have a few numbers drawn out right here. I have -70, -60, and +30. All right, so -70 is going to be our resting membrane potential. All right, our resting membrane potential. All right, and so that is going to be just the normal state that our membrane is at, okay? Because we're thinking about this in terms of what's happening in the cell to cause this action potential or this electrical impulse, okay? So -70 millivolts, that's gonna be our baseline. All right, and then we have -60 millivolts. That's going to be our threshold membrane potential. Okay, so that's gonna be our threshold membrane potential. And so what that means is that for our action potential to totally take place, our charge has to get from -70 up to -60 millivolts. If it doesn't get there, then our action potential won't look like this. It'll just kind of go kind of back down like that, all right? All right, and so +30, that's gonna just be the peak of our action potential. So when it gets to that point, that's when it's gonna kind of be dropping off. So let's look at these, some of these phases. All right, so like I said, we start here with our resting membrane potential. And then at -60, that's gonna be our threshold membrane potential. So step 2. All right, and then this part right here where we see this major increase in charge, that is going to be depolarization, okay? All right, so with depolarization, we see that charge getting more positive, all right? It's heading up towards that +30 that we see right here, all right? And then we see it kind of going back down this way. That's gonna be our repolarization. All right, and then right here we see it dip back down below the threshold and then below the resting membrane potential right here. And so that's gonna be hyperpolarization. All right, and so with hyperpolarization, that's again when we see our charge go below -70. So it's gonna be even more polarized, okay? And then we see it, let me get my numbers right here. All right, and then we see it kind of going back up to our resting membrane potential when the action potential is complete, all right? So like I said, we're talking about charges, and so how those charges are going to be affected, how that's going to interact with our cell, kind of what's going on there is we're looking at our sodium and our potassium ions. All right, so both sodium and potassium have a +1 charge. All right, so Sodium has a +1 charge and potassium has a +1 charge. All right, so when we're thinking about these, when we see our depolarization, that's going to be when our sodium ions are coming into the cell. So they're crossing through that membrane. So sodium ions come in, all right, for our depolarization. And then at our repolarization step, that's when our potassium ions are going out of the cell. All right, so while we're dealing with a positive charge for both of these, we see that for our depolarization, again, we're increasing. So those positive charges are going to be increasing, and then we have positive leaving. So that's going to make it, again, more negative. All right. And so that's just the basics of what I want you to know for action potentials, okay? So if you know what I have here on this paper, and if you study that worksheet that's in your lab manual titled Neurophysiology, then you are going to be good to go. All right. I'll write this here at the bottom so you don't forget. Again, this isn't, we're not asking you to turn this in for a grade, but it is going to be very important for you and really helpful in understanding this. All right, so if you still have questions about action potentials, all of this stuff after you watch this video and go through that worksheet, then please don't hesitate to reach out, email me, and I will be happy to chat with you about that.